I want to talk briefly about holding people accountable and being selfish. Now, before we get there, if I do look a bit rough, I've had like 3 hours sleep. I am not in the best place at all. I need to go have a nap. This is not right. Anyway, don't want to digress too far because I had something on my mind. And what it is, I didn't want to go and have a nap and then lose my train of thought because, to be honest, it was on my mind this morning because it's something that happened yesterday in my life. And it's like anything, we have choices to make. And sometimes we might take a negative approach and it might weigh on our conscience, especially if you're a kind person. It might linger there for a while and you feel bad. Likewise, maybe you don't. It's quite interesting, I think, personally, because when something happens, it's you could literally flip a coin how you're going to react. I'm becoming less emotionally attached to things. When something doesn't feel right, I don't let people abuse me, if you like. I don't let people take me for granted. And it's usually situations where people are used to it. And like I say, I could show compassion and kindness, but I pick and choose when I will do that. And I always say this as well, like, I'm becoming more of a passive healer to people rather than intervene in their lives personally now. It's like, I'll give guidance and I'll give advice and implement it or don't implement it. It's not my problem. I'm not taking on the weight of other people's lives anymore. And that extends way beyond just psychology and things. It's literally in their life, even if it's something else, So it's going to be a bit hard to really explain deeply this situation, and because when you have connections, especially family members, it's usually something that's happened over time rather than one little thing. But eventually, something will test us, and it makes you. Well, it made me in this situation just be a bit selfish, really, and I didn't even feel bad about it because I felt, to be honest, it was entirely justified. So to give the groundwork there. I've always been tech savvy, like the geek in the family, so I'm really good with things. I was tinkering. Effectively, if you go far enough back, my family had, for one Christmas, a PC, and this was back in the day when they were just ridiculously expensive, and most people didn't even have one. It wasn't always wealthy, but my stepdad was able to do that, and it was for all of us. So we would come home from school, and I'd have like my brothers. And we would have like an hour each on the computer. Like I'd play Age of Empires and things like that, like strategy games. One of my brothers would play Command and Conquer. We'd be enjoying ourselves. It was always an hour each, and it's like his turn. It's like that was fun. But eventually, my curiosity got the better of me, and I started tinkering in ways I probably shouldn't have done. But there wasn't a lot of education back then. It's not like nowadays in school they'll learn all about Photoshop, web design, all sorts of design stuff. Didn't have any of that. It was so basic. It was literally just like word processor and things. And no one was there to teach you about the hardware and the components. So I would do things that broke the system, and it would be my way of testing the boundaries of things. Like, what does that do? So I was teaching myself, and of course we learn more as we develop, and things are a lot more accessible, I guess. So anyway, anyone knows anything about DLL files, they are system files that are really, really important for the functionality of your computer. So you delete a DLL file and you're going to find your computer just crashes and there's all sorts of chaos. I learned that the hard way. So I was deleting them not knowing. I was like, what happens if I delete that one? And then eventually it took, my parents would go and maybe they go shopping and we'd be left at home because we're older now, we're teenagers. This is back when you had the big bulky monitors, the heavy things. And it was the desktops were flat rather than standing up. So I would take the monitor off the tower, off the desktop, and then I would unscrew the case, and I would have a look what the components look like. I go, oh, this is interesting. What does that do? I wonder what that does. And I would take things apart, to be honest, and it didn't always work. Sometimes I broke things, and, you learn the hard way. But then fast forward, not too far in the forward, I was building my own computers. And I was enjoying. People do it nowadays, but back then it wasn't such mainstream, is what I'm saying. But I was doing that, and it was one Christmas I bought myself a graphics card, and I thought I knew what I was doing. Back then, I think people see, a lot of people don't know nowadays. Nowadays, it's just brands, but you don't have to worry about like slots and fitting the right slot. So back then, we had PCIe, which is what it is nowadays, and we also had AGP. So what happened is they're different slot types. So I was building a system, and I built a graphics card for that system. It didn't fit, and I was baffled. Like, what the hell? How can that not fit? I realized I got the wrong version. Now, people don't worry about that now. You don't have to even think about it. It's literally just, it's universal now. But anyway, that's what I'm saying though. That's when I was doing that. Since then, I've built many computers, high powered, really expensive ones, cheaper ones over the years. I've even made computers work that shouldn't work. When my budget's that low, I'd say if anyone knows anything, I had a Intel dual core, Core 2 Duo. It was not very powerful, but it was better than people think. And I had this weird setup going on where I can't remember exactly what I was doing, but I had like power cables running out of one computer, and it was doing something to another one. I can't remember I can't remember exactly how this happened. But effectively, it was I had all sorts going on. It's a weird like Frankenstein system just to get as much power as I can. Because it was one of those mini cases that you shouldn't even be able to do anything with this case. I think that's what it was. The case couldn't. Yeah, the I can't remember exactly what it was now, but I just remember that case couldn't handle a lot of power because it was a mini case, so you couldn't put a big power supply in. So I had another tower next to it that was with a bigger power supply, and I made that power supply feed that tower. And then I think, if I can remember rightly, I put a graphics card inside that one. So it's like it was a mess, but it was like, wow, this works. Anyway, just painting the picture there. I know it's a deep tangent, but you can see the geek in me. So, of course, if, in the family, if there's ever a computer problem, rather than try and fix it themselves or try to educate themselves in some level, it's always a case of, I'll just get him to do it. And I've had that with everyone, believe me. I had a nephew that went off to university who had never really bothered with anyone. Quite selfish in that regard. Everything revolves around them. Don't hear from them. They always go, oh, you're my favourite uncle and all that shit. But it's like, mate, when do we even see each other? But I put up with it for a while. And they would message me when they were when they're in university and say something's wrong with their computer, and you'd sit there. Doesn't matter what I was in the middle of. You'd just sit there messaging back and forward, trying to help them fix it. And in the end, you're thinking, wait a minute. The only time I ever hear from them is when they've got something wrong. Like, you need me to fix it all the time. Like, I ain't doing this shit. I'm not going to waste my time troubleshooting. I deleted them in the end. I'm quite ruthless like that. But again, like I said, with family, I think you give them a little bit more time, but like anyone, time runs out. So it wasn't really a relationship. You're thinking, I don't really see you. You don't make time for anyone, and it's like you only bother when you need me for that. I don't need that sort of shit in my life. So I deleted them. But then I've got this other nephew who's been a bit more of a mainstay in my life. But as he's getting older, he's in his mid-20s now. I think early 20, mid-20. I don't know, about 24. But he's becoming really selfish as he's getting older, especially with money and things. But really, he's becoming very, very selfish. And it's like, I think he needs to learn a lesson personally. So yeah, my brother always needs help with his computer as well, even though he's more than capable. People are more than capable. They just expect you for all the time. But anyway, so recently I didn't have to, but like I said, you pick your times you help people, and you pick your times you don't. I did say my brother had a medical appointment, and he lives a bit rural, but it's about an hour away from me. It's quite a trek where he is. And he needed me to take him because it would cost a fortune in a taxi. There's no buses that go directly to that place or something. I don't even know the whole ins and outs. It did give me advance warning, but I was like, well, I don't know what I'm doing in a month and a half. Like, I can't commit to that. If I'm available, I'll take you. But if I'm not, I'm not going to sort of like cancel my things because I don't know what I've got going on. How do I know in that far in advance? But anyway, time's come closer. I took him. He gave me just enough for petrol, really. This is the thing with people. They never pay you for your time. They never think, oh, you've took your time, you're going out your way and all these things, But whatever, you do a deed. It's fine. Now, at this time, I was really struggling for money. It was recent. I've recently shown some things in my life, like where I've sold a phone because I got a contract phone now, a new one, and I had another one. But me selling that phone really helped me. But this event happened before I sold my phone. So this is the event where I've had to go into the shop while they're with me. I had to go to Superstore. And I literally had barely anything at home. And I've gone in and out to get the basics like milk, bread. Like that was a luxury to me, like genuinely. And no one really cared. They act like they're sympathetic, but they don't help you. you know. And I'm not asking for help, but it's more like actions speak, don't they? So I'm not saying people should be saviors of my life. I'm responsible for my own life and the downfalls and the struggles, of course. But again, it's holding people accountable. If you can't help me during a low period, or you don't feel an inclination to help me during a low period, don't expect me to be your savior when you're struggling, even no matter what it is. That's my point. People, they do treat you like that, you know. It's crazy to me. So anyway, I've done that for my brother, and I'm thinking, I don't care, you know. I've done my deed. I offered. I said I'll do it if I can. I've honoured that. I'll do it. Nothing personal. I don't really care, you know. It's like to each your own. But when I got home, I just thought, right, I'm focusing on myself now. I'm not putting myself out all the time for people. No one really helps me. Only my mum. In my life, only my mum. No one else. So, you know, I'm taking the mental notes. My nephew was there, and he came. So they stayed with me overnight the night before because my brother didn't want to miss his appointment. They wanted to sell a couple of things at like a trade-in a place because they wanted to, you know, I don't know what my nephew was saving for, but he wanted something. So he only come because he wanted to sell something, and my brother wouldn't do it for him. In the end, the place messed up, and he actually got an extra £100 out of it, like because they catalogued it as a wrong item. He didn't say anything. I didn't know until we got back. He owed my brother £30, and my brother mentioned it, which obviously is his dad. And he snapped and said, "I told you I'm giving you it when I get this, when I get something." I thought, oh yeah, you just got an extra £100. You owe him that money. Why don't you just give him what you owe? But it's none of my business. I didn't say anything. But he saw the struggle I was going through. Bear in mind, he's just gained an extra amount of money that he didn't anticipate. Now, not saying he should help me, but I think just the idea that you show you give a shit would be a nice start. Like, I'm not saying, you know, one way or another, but at least show you care. Didn't really care. And then, you know, I've dropped him off at home. I visited just for briefly, about 20 minutes. And then I sort of went. But at no point did anyone really care about my circumstance that I'm returning to. My brother did say to my mum, he's worried about me. Because he did say to me, I might say, I'll send you a tenner if I've got another tenner. But he has got money. But he never did. And I'm thinking, I even said it to my mum. I said, well, it's nice when people say things, but they never really follow up, do they? I mean, they don't really care because it's like out of sight, out of mind. They care when they see it, but when you're away, they don't care about you. And she goes, no, he did. I'm thinking, no, not really. No, not really. Like, it's fine. Because what he didn't realise later on, like maybe a couple of days later, I sold my phone. So I wasn't relying on him helping me anyway. Like, it's weird how things work out, isn't it? But it's like self-reliance. So anyway, I feel like I've done my good deed. And out of nowhere, and by the way, around this time, when our nephew visited, he's got a computer tower, and I really do want to build a new computer. It's more powerful than my laptop. It's because if I want to record anything, it's just a bit more versatile. I don't really use my gaming laptop away from my desk, so I'd rather just have a desktop tower. He wants a gaming laptop. We can just swap. He's the one that mentioned the swap. So I mentioned the swap to him, and he's indecisive, and I don't like playing silly shit with people. You know, if you don't know what you want, my laptop's really nice anyway. Like, it's a proper premium brand. I bought it used off someone for about £1,000 a couple of years ago. That person paid £2,000 new. So it's not a poor brand. It's powerful, and it looks freaking nice, and it's great build quality. So I'm in no rush anyway. So anyway, that's important. Because when he went home, he said he hasn't decided he hasn't said he ain't swapping, but he's just thinking about it. But in my mind, I was thinking I'm probably not going to swap now. I don't like messing about. You know, I'll just build a computer in time. That's fine. So anyway, I get a message from my brother randomly, like this week. So maybe it's a week later, ish. Literally, yes, there's the day I got a message. I'm sitting on the sofa, just chilling out, relaxing, and I got a message saying, "Oh, so like my nephew has just got a gaming laptop. He doesn't know what he's doing with it because he can't get the thing working properly. Can he come round and then he'll stay the night to get it fixed?" And I thought, wait, like first of all, my natural instincts normally to go, "Oh yeah, no, of course you can." But straight away, like something flicked in my head, and I just thought, wait a minute, no. Do I look like an idiot? Now, when they came, usually I pick them up from their house, but it's an hour away, hour back. It's a messing about. So they've got a train station near them. So last time when they visited before, they got a train. Even they said it was easy. And then I met them at train station about 15 minutes away. And then pick them up. But I thought, to be honest, I bet my nephew's expecting that again. I'm not going out now. I wasn't anticipating doing it, going out. I'm not doing that shit. And plus, I don't like their lifestyle. They smoke and vape. So, for instance, they don't stop. I don't do any of that shit, and I'm paying to warm the house up. You know, I'm not going to have that shit. I get really annoyed with it. I don't like the door constantly opening and shutting. It pisses me off because it makes the house cold. And all I can smell is smoke. It doesn't smell of smoke when I'm on my own. It ain't cold when I'm home. So I don't want that crap in my house. So I thought about it. I thought, why would I want that? No, I don't want that. Why would I want to go out and meet them at a train station? I don't want to go and meet them at a train station. Why should I spend my evening being a computer technician now when I didn't plan to do that this evening? I don't want to be a computer technician today. So I just think about it. I thought, it's not my problem. He could have swapped with me perfectly fine. He chose to do it his own way, which is great for him. And I know what he's like. He'll turn around. Bear in mind, last time he heard about me, I had literally no money at all. I guarantee this idiot, because he does it all the time. He apparently doesn't really care about his tower now. He wants, because he's got a gaming laptop. And I bet he asked me if I want to buy it at some point. I'll be like, you are thick as shit. Like, how the hell am I supposed to buy it, you idiot? You know? And the thing is, it was an £800 laptop, new, from Amazon. I was trying to look, because I was just curious. I can't bother asking him. I can't bother have a conversation about it. But I was having a look, and I don't think any of them at £800 new are even better. I think they're worse than my one. My laptop's premium. It's got a really, really fast panel. It's a freaking really high res for its screen size. It's a beast, to be totally honest. And I think there's a naivety expecting something cheaper from a cheaper brand and all sorts. Anyway, don't want to digress, but really, he could have just swapped and it'd been fine. But it's his problem. Again, I am not doing this to be spiteful because of that. I don't care. Like, I'm happy. I like my laptop anyway. And I can just build a computer over time. It was more the fact that I'm not someone's technician. Don't, you know, if you're going to have to learn, you can't just expect people. Because I was telling my brother over the phone, because I said, no, I'm not doing all that crap. I don't want to do that tonight. I'm chilling out. And I've got, I didn't anticipate all this shit just because he wants to do it now. No. So I said what it could be. Because, I've done it enough times. I'm not saying I'm like the Messiah. There's probably something I'm missing. But the main thing that I did with my laptop, because my laptop's got that, it's got, what he wanted was the dedicated graphics chip to work for his graphics card. And I had that with my laptop sometimes. It would switch between them. So effectively, your processor a lot of time nowadays has an onboard integrated graphics chip. And it's very weak. It's really designed for low power states. So let's say you don't have the power plugged in. And with gaming laptops, you really should have the power plugged in because that's the whole point. You need the extra power, the wattage, to power the laptop to the function. But anyway, if it goes to the integrated one, the performance is absolute crap. It'll be a low frame rate. It won't look very good. So yeah, you want it hitting the dedicated. And there's ways around that you can manipulate the computer to say, look, just go dedicated. It's software and it's hardware-ish. So yeah, I've had that problem too. But I was telling him over the phone, my brother, and then my brother's going, well, could you talk to him? I said, I'm telling you, you should just be able to relay this. It shouldn't be hard. And then I just get fed up with people needing me all the time, and it's always at the expense of my time that no one seems to value. Even if you go out your way to help people, they only ever and it's in the car. They only pay you whatever they can to just about cover the fuel. It's never time. No one respects time. So, I lost quite a bit of day there to that, to be totally honest. It wasn't like a local journey, this was freaking all over the place. And, yeah, and who cares about my time? But I thought, no, I'll take the day. I do my good thing. I offered that. But I'm not doing that on a regular basis. Neither am I put myself out at home either. So, for instance, with a graphics card, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that you can change the settings in the games. So let's say you launch a game, it's on the wrong adapter. That was what you'd call it, graphics adapter. Some of the games you can literally change the adapter, so you would just switch it to whatever the inbuilt one is. We can do that. There was something else that's popping into my mind. The main one I go into BIOS. So when your computer launches, before it reaches Windows, as you go to BIOS check, usually I think you press F2 or F12 on your keyboard. It's one or the other. You just keep hammering it until it freaking launches. Then it usually goes to this really, really minimal screen that might look a bit confusing, but it's all set up. So it'll have it would start with the first line, which you usually say, well, hard drives are attached, but also the time, the CPU frequency, all this just basic information for your computer. Then you go across a bit, and usually you've got, it's all segregated into different things. Now, a gaming laptop, I think, is a lot simplified. On a computer, you can get technical. And then you'll have, I can't remember the terms now, North Bridge, South Bridge. These are really, really talking about the structure of your motherboard. So some things would be audio your audio sound card. It might have your network. So you've got internet and things. So you've got things like that, and then it might have things like your graphics chip, your PCIe things, your hard drive, all sorts of things. Then you might have like a boot section as well. What device you want to boot to, because you might have multiple hard drives or even a USB flash drive. But amongst all that, there will be something to do with your graphics chip. And it will say, usually if it's integrated, like if it's got dual graphics, it might say auto. So the computer will pick which one it wants to use, which you're not really happy with that selection. So you can just literally disable the integrated one from there and just enable the powerful one, which I think is the best way of doing it. Just bosh, you don't have to worry about it. You never have to question it. The other way is like there's software. So for instance, I have NVIDIA, so I've got NVIDIA control panel. It's literally a thing that you can literally just customize some settings. So effectively on there, you would just go to there, then you would click on to say, I want it optimized, I want it full power, dedicated graphics on everything, or you can override specific games. You can do all those sort of things. It's not even complicated. It looks harder than it is. It really isn't hard. There's a lot of settings you can actually do in there to override specific games to do what you want it to do, even in graphic settings for performance or for quality, whatever you want to do. So we've done in-game change. We've done control panel with NVIDIA. We've also done the BIOS. I think there might be one more way as well, and I might even be missing something else. I think perhaps it's a little risky because your screen might go off because it might be running on that chip now. So, for instance, you could disable live the integrated graphics, but your system at that moment with your screen visible, which is where your graphics is coming, isn't it? Your screen. If you disable it, it might cause a little bit of a problem in the fact that will it automatically transition to the other chip, or will it just stay blank? There's a risk inherently with that one, because what I'm saying is you could go to Device Manager in your properties or control panel. You literally just type Device Manager in your search bar on Windows, and then you could look for like display adapter, I think it'll be called. And it would then have your integrated one. I'm not looking now, but you might have you might have that, and then you might have your powerful one. So of course, if you right click on the one you don't want and then just disable it, all of a sudden that's not available anymore. But personally, I think if you're going to go down that route, I would really suggest the BIOS route, because if you change something on a software level and your display doesn't work, it might prove difficult to then get back to it, because how the hell are you gonna there are ways, like for instance, if you was to connect an external monitor to your computer, a lot of time it's going to use a dedicated graphics anyway, so that might get you a screen. Use an external one rather than the laptop one. Just different ways. But I personally think if you just disable it in BIOS and then there's an issue, you can just go back to BIOS, because it's really before Windows launches. It's not affecting Windows settings. It's literally telling Windows what is the hardware on this laptop. If it's disabled at the beginning before it even reaches Windows, Windows doesn't even know a graphics card exists. So you sort of again, that's why I think it's better, because you can then tinker it back. But anyway, these are easy things. It's not like complicated. To me, it's not, and it shouldn't be. There's one more way actually that I've forgotten. It's a software one. It might be that so for instance, if you've got a Ryzen CPU, it's AMD, so it'd be Radeon. It might be Radeon software specific for the CPU, and it might very well feature the integrated graphics chip within the software, and you might actually be able to disable it there as well. So there's all the different ways. Probably could digress really big with this, but the point is, that's not my problem. It's just I'm not, so usually when someone's got a computer problem, it usually continues way beyond that. So like it might start off with that, and all of a sudden they want more help with other shit. It's like my whole evening pissing about with your thing, turn it off and on, checking this crap, checking that crap. And like I say, then you got to deal with their lifestyle after all that crap. I don't need company like that. It's like, I'm good. Not my problem. And I think, to be honest, I've explained it, and I've explained it to people before, and it's like, what the real problem is, there's an ignorance with people. People don't like doing things for themselves because it's effort. You can educate people, but a lot of people don't take anything on board. So they just think, no, why can't you do it? It's like, well, learn to do it for yourself. You can't just keep expecting everybody else to go out of their way to do all this shit. Because like the problem in my life, everybody expects so much of me all the time. Because I can do it, they think, oh, well, could just do it for them. It's like, do I look like I want to be a computer repair technician? Like, do I look like I want to do it? It does. Everybody has computer problems at some point, and some things test the living shit out of you. Like, I'm good with these things, but even I have problems sometimes, and things are driving me nuts. It's like right now, the reason I want to upgrade my laptop is sometimes I try to record a gaming session, and the problem is because of the power draw and how demanding games are, my laptop can play pretty much anything, and it's quite impressive like that. And sometimes it can record fine, but the recording puts extra pressure and strain on the system. And the real problem is some of the games have pushed my laptop to its brink. Like, it's doing great, and that's fine. It's built for that. As soon as I want to record though on top, it sometimes pushes it to breaking point, and the whole computer shuts down. That drives me nuts. If I weren't ever recording or trying to do anything like that, I'd never have a problem. It's perfect like that. It's perfectly fine. As soon as I push it that extra mile, it goes off. And even I'm trying to figure out what it is, because I have software running where I can check the temperatures, the CPU speed, and all sorts. You can see if there's like a degradation there. And it always just comes out of nowhere. And it's like there's no warning. The game isn't stuttering. I'm not getting an issue with recording. It doesn't say encoding overload, which would suggest there's a huge strain on whatever you're using to encode. So in my software, for instance, where I record, if I chose CPU to do the encoding, then if it's overloading, then one would assume it's the CPU being really, really hammered and it's struggling. If it's the GPU, the graphics card that I'm using to encode, because it has a built-in encoder, but it still says it's overloading, it might be the graphics card's getting pushed. So that might indicate that one of those is getting really hard, like it's either overheating or it's just getting maximum capacity, or there's just something going on. There's no indication. So the power brick that comes with your computer is effectively the same as it's the equivalent of the big power units you get in a computer. But it's just on the outside, it looks different. It might very well be that can't pump any more watts that the computer needs. It could be any of those things. So it's either a temperature thing, it's either completely pushed itself to the brink with it's not usually if something reaches 100%, it's usually temperature related with that, but then it could be a voltage problem I don't know. Even I'm baffled by it, and it drives me nuts. And I go into Windows, and you can go into this, you go into log history, event history, and you go and check your Windows logs, and you can look and see system issues, and you can see when did the computer turn down off, because you'll see the time, you'll know roughly the time. And then you'll start seeing some yellow and red hazard signs, and you can start pointing towards it. Trouble is, it doesn't always tell you what you want. It will say power state or something shut down, or power abruptly stopped. It's like, okay, that we know that's what happened. It went off, and then what led to it? And sometimes it doesn't even make sense. It's like, oh, Christ, I can't even freaking figure. Even I know where to go to find the information, but even the puzzle don't make sense. So we all have problems. It's like, but we just have to get on with it, and it's like figure it out. But he's always got problems with computers anyway. Like, for instance, he's built a computer, and it was always turning off on him and doing stupid shit. So it's like, I don't think he knows what he's doing, to be honest. It's like he's relatively new to PC gaming, but it's not for me to hold someone's hand for it either. And especially when it don't help me with nothing. I'm not talking about money all the time, but people don't really check in on me. And it's just no different at this point to my other nephew, who only checks in when they don't even check in, just message when they want something. Well, you might need me, but I don't need you. So I can get on comfortably on my own, with my own existence. So yeah, I don't want people that are just leeches around me anymore. Like, people just leech off me all the time. Like, no, it doesn't matter in what form it is. I'm not wasting my time on people who rarely give me anything in return. So yeah, so like I say, we all have choices, and it isn't even seeming selfish. We can be selfish, and we can be justified in that selfishness sometimes, But effectively, it's our choice how we handle any situation, Don't have to explain it really. I just really did this video because I want to. It's not empower to a degree, yeah. I just want people to be able to reflect on their lives and not feel like you've always got to say yes to people just because you have the means to do something. Yeah, it's nice to have compassion and be kind, but then to what extent? If people are just going to abuse you to a degree, take advantage all the time, rarely reciprocate, then what's the point? What's the point of you being someone's savior when no one else is yours, For me, it's about an equal exchange of energy, and I don't feel anyone's putting much energy into me, again, apart from my mum and my daughter. But those are the only two I can rely on in life. So, yeah. So I hold people accountable beyond that. I'm not putting myself out. It didn't even matter what I was doing. To be honest, I'm enjoying watching Boardwalk Empire on Blu-ray. So I mess about during the day. I'm doing stuff. I'm tinkering with whatever I'm doing. And I've been working on my book or thinking of new concepts. I might do my YouTube videos. When it gets to a certain time, I'm looking forward to watching my Boardwalk Empire. I know it's old, but I didn't realize how old it was until I started looking on the internet. But I've been collecting it and really watching it. And I was thinking that's what the best part of what my thinking was. I was like, well, my plan was to watch that. I just wanted to chill out and watch that. I don't want to do any other shit, and I don't want to be entertaining someone right now. Like, I don't need that. That's not my problem. I don't know if they fixed it. I'm not even asking. It's none of my business. I don't even know what model of laptop it is. You know, again, it's not my problem. And I think that was for me. That was the most interesting part of it. Is the fact that in the past I always felt guilty, so I'd buckle. Like there would literally be it's not even that you'd buckle. It's the fact that I felt guilty. That's the interesting part because now I don't even feel any guilt. I don't even have a feeling towards it. And I thought, well, that's really interesting because if you felt guilty, then you might have some sort of regret, or you might question something, and you might think, oh, I don't know if I should have done that, or oh, I should have done it, I could have done it, I could. Not even in the slightest. I'm not. I think what it is, I'm not. I'm beginning. I'm not even beginning. I'm already deep into the process of not taking on the weight of other people's lives anymore. I'm responsible for mine. All of our lives are stressful enough in areas. You know, I think the idea that anybody's isn't, I think, is naive. There's always some pressure from some direction. And I think, you know, we've got enough on our own shoulders. So if someone is genuinely supportive and they go out of their way for you, then of course there's loyalty and it's reciprocated. When people don't really help you and they know you're struggling and they just don't really care and they're so bogged down in their own freaking desires and things, so they have their own indulgences, even though they know how much you're suffering. Again, it's up to them. You know, it's not that you owe anyone anything, but just don't expect off them. That's the point, isn't it? No one owes me anything, but don't expect off me then when you need my support. That's what it is. It's just reciprocating. So if someone's an incredible friend or an incredible family member, they're deeply supportive. It's like, yeah, cherish that. Absolutely cherish that and match the energy. It's all about matching the energy. If people just drain you and just don't even support and expect everything off you whenever they want, and they rarely give anything in return, it's like, well, just match the energy. You didn't care about me, so why should I care about you? I'm not putting myself out. Again, like I say, I could have easily dealt with it. But then if there's issues beyond that, or it's not really working and there's other deeper problems, it's like it just escalates. Everyone, like anyone that's worked on computers knows it can tend you down a rabbit hole. Because if let's say it looks like it's fixed now, the computer keeps turning itself off and on. You can't even, it doesn't stay on for more than freaking 10 minutes because you never know if it's going to do that. There could be any amount of issues, couldn't it? I mean, Jesus, it's a laptop as well, so it makes it slightly more complicated. Let's say you've not put the power cable in. It might be the battery's just crap in it, and it just can't hold a charge. It could be absolutely anything at that point. Could be a power state issue. Where, I mean, some of these do that, don't they? The power saving things, they literally turn the frigging hard drives off after a certain period, which isn't particularly helpful. So, yeah, if I wanted to be a computer technician, I would try to build a career in being a computer technician, but that's not really my dream. You know what I mean? I enjoy it in my own spare time when I want to mess about, but I definitely don't want to be sitting there figuring everyone else's crisis out. And like I say, it goes way beyond all that. It's far deeper and personal. So like I say, I'm not really helping a lot of people personally in my life, and I don't feel guilty for it. And it is selfish, but then I deserve to be selfish at this point. And that extends way deeper than this situation, by the way. So like if my life evolves and changes in a real positive way, it's like I'll never forget who was there to support me on my journey, and I definitely won't forget the ones that didn't support me when they had the means to, because it just shows your character, doesn't it? For me, this has just been a big test for me to hold people accountable. So, you know, you can only give people so long in your life. Like, I wish them well. I wish people well, and I hope they heal, and I hope they grow, and I hope they find out. I hope they recognise in themselves that they're taking advantage of people a lot, and they're not really respecting people. And eventually, you learn the lesson. But the thing is, by the time people learn the lesson, you're not always going to be around. So the reality is, I've been pushing away from most of my family for a while now, and there was only a few stragglers left, if you like. And I've been watching and holding and I'm considering things, and it's kind of like, they don't realise they're being tested, but they're being tested. So like I said, I'm not expecting anything of them, but then they don't let me down in that regard either, do they? I didn't expect anything. They didn't really bother. They're not really interested apart from beyond their own needs. So that's fine. So then I recognise that now. I wish you well. Hopefully you start doing things with your life and improve at some point, but I won't be hanging around and you won't always have access. And again, I think it's justified. Other people might think, oh, yeah, well, you could have, and I get it. But how long do you allow yourself to be abused and taken advantage of? And when do you start saying that my time is precious? I don't need this. I really don't need this. Just because we know each other doesn't mean you have full access to me. Um, yeah. Actually, I say the weird thing there is, conversely, literally, my daughter she phones me randomly. I don't get any inclination. There's no like a text message and then like, oh, I'm going to call. It's like literally just randomly phone rings. I think I was about to watch the Boardwalk Empire, weirdly enough. So I didn't want to. This is what I'm saying, though. For the right people, you bend over backwards for them, don't you? Like with my daughter, always available. So for my nephew, I wasn't prepared to have him around because I had my own plans and I was looking forward to watching my TV show anyway. But it was like, I'm just not even disrupting any of my day for it. And yet my daughter rings and we was talking for about, oh, God knows, a few hours. We was just talking. She's really into The Last of Us at the moment. I've got The Last of Us on Blu-ray. I've recently ordered The Last of Us 2 on Blu-ray, the TV show. I've got the games as well. We was talking and she loves it, and I felt bad that I've got it and she hasn't. So I sent her the money so she can quickly go to the shop and get the first season. And then I knew how annoyed she'd be when that ends and she hasn't got the second season. So I ordered it on Amazon and got it sent to her house. So hers is arriving today. But this is what I'm saying. For her, I will go out the extra mile, because so much respect and love between us. And yeah, for the right people, I'll do my best for them and I'm always available. For people I just think have mistreated me or took me for granted, it's like my love and respect is wanes. It's limited. So that's okay. That's the difference there. Instead of that time with my daughter, I could have been fixing someone's computer and helping them with that shit. But I would rather spend my time with my daughter. I didn't know she was going to call, of course, but I find it quite interesting that I wouldn't have been able to have the same conversation with her if I was fixing someone's shit, would I? So I feel like that was a better evening for me. It cost me money in the end, but I know how excited and happy she was, and it's nice to hear from her, Anyway, I think maybe that's important as well. I think to show that it's not about being selfish. It's about holding people accountable. So we give some people our time, and some people don't get. Like for instance, earlier in the day, like I was talking to my mum for about an hour on the phone. I don't really call anyone else on the phone. I talk to my daughter and my mum on the phone. That's it, and I'll talk for a while, and they have my full attention until the conversation runs its course. There's no like preempting anything or trying to rush off. It's like no, we chat, we just talk in general. But then other people, I won't even give them a minute. So again, the whole point of this was really to reflect and show people that it's okay to set boundaries in your life. It's okay to hold people accountable, and it's okay to demand better for yourself. And people's perception of that is irrelevant because people see things with rose-tinted glasses. Like they won't see what they've done. They won't even probably look at that, and they'll just see your actions and consider it selfish. And it's like, yeah, you sit how you want to sit. You do you. And like I said, I think this is a bit stupid on my nephew's part because now he's got to try and sell a computer. And be honest, I'm good at selling things. I know the pricing. I know how to list it. So I know how to list the items. People don't want to ask a million questions. People don't want vague if you're buying a computer. They want to know information. Like when did you build it, or when did you buy it? How old is it? Do you know what I mean? And then they want to know because I know what I would want if I'm looking. I want to know all the information, all the parts in it, whether it's the motherboard, whether it's the CPU, all that. Because then you can do your research. Maybe you figure out how expensive those items are, how error prone they are, like everything. And then you haven't got asked loads of questions. But some people just write really good gaming computer, and there's no technical specs. So how the hell do you know what is in that computer, and how do you know the real pro value of it? All those things, So there's always ways. I don't think he has a clue of any of that. So I don't know how he's going to sell his computer, to be totally honest. But which got me thinking, you spend £800 on a laptop, if you'd just done a swap with me, because I don't think that laptop's better than mine. I think mine's potentially better than his, but I haven't seen it. But mine's got, to put it in perspective, mine's an Alienware. So anyone knows computers. I'm not saying Alienware's the best, but Alienware's a premium brand. You just Google Alienware; they're really expensive. I bought it off someone, so I didn't pay £2,000. I paid £1,000, but a couple of years ago. It's got RTX 3070. So anyone knows about graphics card, that's not a cheap graphics card. It come in two specs. As it was a 3060. With graphics card, the leaps are huge. So 3070 is much better than a 3060. But just look small, like marginal. They're not. They're huge jumps in class. So mine's a 3070, so it's more premium than the average. So if someone has a similar model to me and they run a 3060, mine's more powerful. Most of the screens on the Alienware, my model, come with a 1080p screen. I think it's 165 hertz 1080p. It look okay. My one is a 1440p panel, which is like 1440p almost looks 4K. The difference between 1080p HD and 1440 is huge. It looks massively bit sharper. It looks vivid. It's vibrant. So my screen is incredibly premium compared to the original, the base model. It also, instead of 165 hertz, is 240 hertz, which, is incredible. But it's also got G-Sync, so it doesn't have any stutter at all on the screen. It is the panel itself is just freaking stunning, and it's more powerful the laptop than the base one. So anyway, I'm just saying it's a premium model. It cost a lot of money when it first released, and when you go and buy a cheap brand new one, it's unlikely it's even unlikely it's even anywhere near powerful as that. So my point there is, if you'd just done the swap when I was interested, he would then had more powerful laptop potentially, or at least a premium one, and he would have had £800 in his bank account. Instead, he's got a potentially weaker laptop. He's lost £800 to it, and now he's got to try and find a way to sell the other computer, which probably can take time. People are just stupid. But I'll say it's not my positive thing. I will never push anyone. So I kept saying to him, like when we was talking about it, I said, look, you look hesitant. You don't seem to know what you want. I wouldn't want anyone to ever make a decision they regret. So if you're not sure, I'd say anyone that's not sure of anything, just don't act. So if you're ever on the fence and you're confused, don't do anything. That's what my answer to that would be. Because if your hesitance points towards a negative, so then if it's a negative, then follow that. Like, don't push yourself to just say yes if you don't feel like saying it. That's what I'm like, because I'd rather I'm not playing silly things. Then my brother at the time mentioned about, why don't you just do a swap now and then see how it goes? I said, I'm not pissing around doing that. Computers, you have to change files and all sorts of shit. This ain't a freaking test period. You either do it or you don't do it. I'm not playing silly shit. I don't like being messed about, to be honest. So if someone divers, I'm decisive. I'll decisively stop it if I think there's an issue, rather than let someone just keep. I'm not dancing around shit. You either want to do something, you don't want to do something. If you're not sure, we won't do it. I'm not playing about. As you can see, I'm quite firm with shit. I don't like people messing about. I don't like silly shit. He's the one that came to me and mentioned he wanted to do the swap. And I was hesitant myself at first. I was like, well, let me think about it. Because it's just out of nowhere. Like, let me think about it. Just because really, what part of the feeling was, where I do these videos, I know like it's probably not the most amazing setup, but I did have to set up the transparency mode, because I've got the green screen and things. So you have the lighting and all sorts. But it's like, if I went onto a computer fresh with the software, I've then got to mess about tinkering with absolutely everything. I'll have to sort of get the it's really the green screen coding. There's all sorts of stuff you have to do. That's why you've still got a level of, I can't get rid of it all of it, because if I was to get rid of every little part here, it starts to make me transparent. So I've got the right settings. Of course, you could take photos and all sorts of shit to try and get the settings right, but it's not just, it's other software on it, It's like I can't be bothered to do all that right now. And it's like, I don't know if I can be bothered to go from a blank screen setup where I've got to try and install everything again, So that was more really rather than hardware, but it was like, Anyway, I know this has gone deviating and we've gone so many freaking trails with it. But again, it was so important to me that people, they do make their life a priority. You know, it's not about being selfish to every situation, but I think it's hold people accountable. Because, like I say, people I love and respect, they have all my undivided attention. So even if I'm about to do anything else, my daughter phones, I pick the phone up. And I have no idea how long she intends to talk. It might be a brief thing. She just wants to say something. Sometimes she does that. Other times it's like, I didn't realize she's settling in here and I'm struggling because I haven't eaten. She's maybe had dinner and I haven't eaten yet. And I'm thinking I've still got to eat and I just want to be able to eat and watch my show. But I love talking to you, but let me just eat in peace. You know? I think we did it yesterday. I forgot to go off. I did it yesterday, actually, last night. My phone, I don't like having a phone next to my head, so I've got my AirPods Pros, and I like to have that connected to the phone. And they were dying on me, but it's the right time because my dinner was coming as well. I just sorted my dinner out, and they actually started dying. You know, when one goes off, the other one's about to go off. So I said that I need to go because my headphones, I need to charge them, and I just want to eat anyway. I'm going to watch my show. And she goes, "Well, I've just been talking to you during my show." She was getting funny about it. But I thought, mate, we've been talking for ages. Like, when does it end? I need to just watch this thing, do that. I said, well, look, if you want to talk, you can call me after. Call me in a little bit. She never did because I think she got too caught up in her show. Yeah, anyway, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But I mean, the problem is some people don't know when to leave. So anyway, I don't want to drag this out. I just really wanted to get that across. Like I said, I've started this video in a place of delirium because I've had about 4 hours sleep with my sleep pattern shit. I can't sleep. I go to bed way too late. It's not healthy. I need to work on it. So there's things for us all to be working on anyway. Well, I say, I think if it's what it comes down to is self-empowerment. If you are taking the lead role in your own life, then you just start to recognize where people are not taking the lead role in their lives, and then there's a realization that you're not accountable for them. That's what it comes down to. Like, if I'm accountable for my life and I hold myself to a certain standard, and I'm always evolving, growing, I gain new skills, I do this, and someone else is just stagnant and they're expecting you to solve all their problems, no matter what it is, even if it's something so trivial, it's kind of like, well, that's your responsibility. You take ownership of that, you know? It's just, like I said, people just want an easy way out all the time. Half the problems, like my nephew with his computer, I'm sure half the problems could be resolved with a Google search. Okay, maybe it's going to take you some time. You might have to go through some forums and look at some YouTube videos, and maybe it's a whole process. It's just, there's an ignorance. Oh, I don't know. It's like, no, you do. You're just choosing it easy. You want me to bloody do it, and I'm not doing it. I'm happy just to do my own little existence. Anyway, like I said, it is selfish, but for me, it's justified.